And joining us now in the studio to give us more insight into the life and legacy of Senator Edward Ted Kennedy is VOA's White House correspondent, Paula Wolfson. Welcome to In Focus, Paula.
Thank you.
You know, I have to say, I was personally shocked when I heard the news, but a lot of people knew that he was suffering from this form of brain cancer, so it wasn't really a shock. What is the reaction from the White House, especially from President Obama, who he was very close with?
He was very close to President Obama, indeed, and President Obama said simply, "I'm heartbroken." Ted Kennedy was his mentor when he was a young senator, when he first came to the Senate, took him in, looked after him, taught him the ways of the Senate. And he was one of his, as you saw in the package, one of his earliest and strongest endorsers in his race for the White House. You know, there was thought that he might originally, just might back Hillary Clinton. And
Yes.
instead he threw his endorsement very, very, very strongly behind Barack Obama, and it made a difference.
And of course, he was referred to as the liberal lion, and you know, his career spanning more than 4 decades.
But the interesting thing about Ted Kennedy and what set him apart from others who might be called the conservative lion or the liberal lion, and what a lot of people don't know is he developed these strong friendships across the aisle in the Senate with some of the most conservative members. It didn't matter once they were off the legislative floor what their views are. They were all fellow senators to him, and he built a lot of close friendships, as they say, across the aisle with members of the Republican Party.
I can imagine now, over these 40 years that he has been the legislator, the senator for Massachusetts, very, very strong advocate for a lot of issues, healthcare reform, education. You know, in light of this healthcare issue that is taking place right now, what will his absence signify?
It's a great loss for both the Senate, for the Democrats, and for President Obama. You know, it was interesting, Senator Kennedy knew. I mean, he has always played a key role on health issues, and he knew his days were numbered. In the state of Massachusetts, which he represents in the Senate, in most states in the United States, the governor, upon the passing, or if a senator should resign, can appoint a replacement to fill out their term. That is not the case in the state of Massachusetts. There's got to be a special election. Well, Senator Kennedy, knowing that his days were numbered and that this important series of votes on health care was coming up, just last week, I believe, started writing to the governor, to lawmakers in Massachusetts, saying, please, can we change the rules so that the governor can appoint someone to fill up my term, so we have someone there, if necessary, to fill my shoes for the debate and votes on health care. It all meant that much to him. But it also shows that he really knew that his days were numbered.
Now, you know, of course, he's a Kennedy, and
He's a Kennedy.
Every time when I wonder, you know, of course, he had presidential aspirations of his own, as Jim's piece just revealed. Do you think he was always still in the shadows of his late brothers, specifically President John Kennedy?
I think in the 60s he was, but after the passing of his 2 brothers, he became more his own man and took over the job of patriarch of the Kennedy family, and especially after his loss in the primaries, his early withdrawal from the presidential primary race in 1980, he really devoted himself to the Senate, and that is his legacy. Yes, there was President Kennedy and Attorney General and Senator Robert Kennedy, but Ted Kennedy left his mark on the Senate, and that mark will never be erased.
And of course, flags are flying at half-mast today in
tribute,
honor of his passing and his legacy. Paula Wolfson, thank you so much.
Anytime.
It's always a pleasure having you here.